Hey, my mate. Okay, thanks for the videos. Right, first thing, I just want you to understand that sort of 80 yards is not a chip. It's not even a pitch shot. Okay, it's wedge technique. It's basically a mini swing, a three-quarter swing. That's what we use. Sort of, I would say 60 and above, 60, 70, 80, all the way above. All right. So at some point, I do want to see the chipping and pitching around the greens, 30 meters. Onto elevated greens, over a bunker, something like that. Those are your pitch shots. And then obviously your chip shots, your nice flat shots right next to the green. Okay, so try and get a couple of those when you can, even if it's from the course, absolutely fine. Now, in terms of your wedge technique, and it is something I mentioned anyway, our wedge technique, we want to be as sharp as possible. Overall, I like it. Okay, I think anytime you have a sort of a swing that doesn't have a lot of wrist angle in it, in terms of whippiness, sloppiness, okay, which you never have, and a slightly shut face, okay, always lends itself to really good wedge technique. Okay, so our two things we want to control with wedges are consistent launch angle, okay, and as little face rotation as possible. All right, and kind of from the face rotation point of view, okay, you already got that in your swing naturally, so that's kind of cool, right? So we just want to get this launch angle as consistent as possible. So you see in those first ones with a narrower stance, it was definitely neater. And then when we got wider and the ball position was a little too far forward, then we started to see a little bit of this right knee and a little bit of this dip come in. And then obviously that last one, because of that slightly wide early release and that thing that was very shut and going left. Okay, so we do want to control that, right? Okay. So a lot of it's the same stuff. Okay, neater body pivots, getting a little more on top of the ball at impact, not standing up. And obviously the trigger, but the trigger was great in all of them, so I'm not worried about that. Right. What I really do like with wedge technique is when you change direction, that hip and shoulder plane get really, really flat. Okay, so there's none of this. There's none of that right under left move. Okay, so that's really good for wedge technique. Okay, so I really, really like that. Right. So we're going to focus a little bit on the wedges this week, but a lot of that stuff dials into what we do with the golf swing anyway. Okay, but also just planting some seeds. Right, so what I want you to do for your warm-up, focus on your wedges. We're going to focus on length control. Okay, so for our warm-up, okay, we're going to try and sort of imagine we're in a clock. Okay, we're going to try and take this club back. You can do a few with each of the wedges, lob, sand, gap wedge, even pitching. So what I want you to do is imagine you're a clock, and I want you to take the club away. Your left arm is the hour hand. I want you to take it away. You're still rotating your body. Okay, until the left arm is at 9 o'clock on the clock face. Okay, 9 o'clock. All right, turn through and stop at 3 o'clock. Okay, so 9 o'clock, 3 o'clock. Okay, just little ones. Okay, we probably won't use that one where we still practice it, but with gap wedge and pitching wedge. But with sand wedge and lob wedge is a really versatile shot. Okay, so 9 to 3. All right, and then once you have a few of those, then I want you to go 10 to 2. So just imagine where 10 o'clock is on the clock face. 10 o'clock, 2 o'clock. Okay, now if it's 10:15 or whatever, okay, it doesn't matter. It's just the idea. So just get close enough. As long as you're feeling 10 and they're consistent, that's all that matters. Okay, and it's different to the 9 to 3, basically, it's longer. Okay, that's all that matters, yeah? Okay, so very, very important. All right, so do those, and then when you do that, focus on ball position. All right, so for now, I want the ball right on center. Okay, we are going to fiddle with 3 different ball positions later on as well. So that forward ball position, we will use when we want to, but for now, middle of the stance, make sure it's there, put something there if you have to, just a club even is fine. And then control your 9 to 3s and your 10 to 2s. Okay, so that's how we want to sort of warm it up. Right, okay, dialing in from there, but also sort of along the same lines as controlling the movements in your golf swing. Okay, really good draw with the wedges is towel draw. So we put the towel under our arms. Okay, we learn to hit shots with the towel under arms. What the idea there is that the pivot's doing all the work, so there's way less separation, leg work, and release, right? But for you, okay, I want to use it because you're less able with that towel there to use your hand-eye coordination to adjust for any dipping or any standing up.
Apologies there, Matt, some technical difficulties with the sound department. Okay, so what I was saying, I'm just going to finish without the mic. What I'm going to say is basically, with that towel on your arms, it's less, you're less free and able to make solid contact if you're dipping a little bit on the backswing and then obviously standing up a little bit at impact, right? Okay, so towel drill, towel under your arms. Start with the wedges, maybe gap wedge or something like that. Quite a narrow stance. Okay, I'm going to stay very centered, equidistant from the ball, equi-height throughout the movement pattern, and just trust the rotation. Okay, you can hear it. Okay, nice pure strikes. Okay, you can work all the way up to probably 7-iron with that. Okay, so do some gap wedges, pitching wedges, some 9s, 8s, some 7s, all with the towel drill. Okay, so that's a really, really good one. And obviously, like I say, just going to definitely promote and neaten up our wedge technique. Okay, but also going to help us with those, eradicating the last 10 or 15% of those unnecessary movements. Okay, and then drill number 2. Okay, it's more of a focus point, I would say, than a drill. Okay, so you can do normal swings. You can go all the way through the bag. Right, you're going to start quite slowly. I would say start at about 70%, something like that. Okay, and basically what our focus is to try and keep the left knee, all right, exactly where it is. So basically feel like the kneecap does not move. So we're going to turn, shift, take weight, etc., etc., but we're going to feel like that left knee doesn't move. Okay, so your right leg issue, it's not sort of a slide or anything like that. Okay, it's just basically the left knee goes back and you kind of lock out a little bit. Now obviously that is going to cause a little bit, or certainly promote a bit of a dip there, right? So just start off really nice and slowly, excuse me, really nice and slowly, sort of 70% swings, and you've got to feel throughout the backswing like that kneecap is not moving. So just feel like there's something there, and just keep that right kneecap exactly in the spot. So we want to go towards the ball, away from the ball, or obviously sideways, but you don't do that. Okay, so really, really still, all throughout the backswing, 70%. Okay, we've just a little bit, but the idea is what we want, okay, because you've got quite a lot of movement. I can even see it from the side-on perspective. You can see how far that right knee goes back. Okay, so that's drill number 2. Okay, right, sorry again for the end of the video and the sound. Those are your drills for the week. Let me know how it goes, and thanks as always, my mate.